This video will show you how to use the new and improved Professional Services Employee Profit Evaluation. Alright, one thing of note is this Excel spreadsheet is locked down except for cells that are orange. If you notice, I can't click on this, but I can click on this, or this, or this, or any other. So, the reason for that is there's a lot of formulas behind this sheet, and adjusting one formula can potentially create errors throughout the entire sheet. Okay, so let's create a sample employee. We'll call him John Doe, and let's say he's working at Exxon. Let's pay him $50 an hour, so that'll be $75 for the overtime rate. And let's say the start date, let's say he starts today and ends sometime at the end of the year. Let's say this project starts and ends at the end of the year. Okay, it's critical to put a start date and end date in here, otherwise the number of weeks are not calculated and therefore the schedule down here does not function properly. So let's, for the sake of a little bit of time to recover costs here, let's say this project lasts for 1 year, so 52 weeks. Okay. Now, as you see, the payroll burden right now is 1 because we haven't decided whether the employee is in a plant or works inside or outside of the plant. The reason why that's important is if they're working inside the plant, our workers' comp rate is higher, and therefore the burden rate is higher. So let's do that. Let's pick an employee. So let's say so as you can see, they either work in the office or in the plant. And if they work in the plant, the workers' comp is higher. So let's choose an option. So let's say they work inside the plant. Well, let me just show you. The tax and workers' comp burden is 11.36%, and as you notice, this went from a 1 to 1.11. If they work outside the plant, it's 9.86, and this rounds, so it went from a 1 to a 1.10. Let's say they work inside the plant. Let's take the higher of the two. Okay? Alright, so we filled that in, and now let's put in their straight time, bill rate, overtime, and if they get per diem. So let's say they're billing, straight time is 74, and let's say 91. Okay? Per diem, we'll give them $100 per diem. Okay, cell phone reimbursement. We'll put all of these in, and I'll explain to you how they work. So let's say the individual gets a cell phone reimbursement, and he's being reimbursed $50 a day, or $50, and then you want to select the period. Let's say we reimburse him monthly. Okay. Better yet, let's say we pay him $15. Since we're getting away from the monthly ones, why don't we say $15 weekly? That's what he's going to get reimbursed. Alright, vehicle allowance, let's say we're going to reimburse him. Well, what the heck, let's just put in $800 and let's say that's monthly, but we'll change it to weekly. I just want to show you how this program works. What it does is it ultimately takes any rate and period that you put in here and moves it over into a weekly, or calculates over into a weekly cost. Alright, PTO, you have to determine what you have to enter your accrual rate. And for here, if you click on the cell, this little window will appear so you can quickly know what your accrual rate. For 2 weeks, enter in 1.54, 3 weeks, 2.31, and so on. So let's say 2 weeks he works, so enter in 1.54. 2 weeks is what the PTO given to the employee is. Okay? And you notice these I can't change because these are calculated weekly and PTO will always be accrued weekly, so therefore there's no need to change this item. Paid holiday. Okay, paid holiday, you want to enter the number of holidays within the project duration. So the project duration is about 52 weeks, so let's say there's going to be 8 holidays. Perfect. If, let's say, it was 36 weeks, you want to look for that span and figure out how many holidays fall into that span. All right, referral bonus. Referral bonus, we sometimes give, $300, $400, $500 to each employee the employee refers. So let's say the employee will refer 2 employees, and we'll pay him $500 for each employee that he refers. Okay? So over the life of the contract, which is 52 weeks, it will cost us about $21.42 per week for the referral bonus. The sign-on bonus is works the same way. Sometimes we'll pay him a $1,000 bonus. Okay, so same thing. DISA, if the employee will be going through DISA, here enter a 1 if TGE will pay for the employee's DISA costs. In most cases we do, so let's enter 1. I've taken the average of our DISA cost per employee, which is $115, and that is what the value of the DISA cost is. Same with safety council. If we're going to be paying for their safety council, enter a 1. Again, average is around $250 per contract. It costs us about $481 or $4.81 over the life of the contract per week. All right. If they're electing to get medical, vision, or dental insurance, again, enter a 1. And automatically, most of them will get the life, ADD, and LTD covered by them, or provided by as a benefit of being an employee at TGE. General liability. Okay, this one's important, and you notice it's nothing here at the moment. General liability is informed by the value of the revenue we estimate to receive from the contract. So once you fill in the rest of the sheet, this item will populate, and we'll come back to it. All right, and other allowances, we can enter other allowances. I entered this space if you need something else put in that I haven't considered. All right, let's jump on to billings. Let's say in this contract we're going to bill cell phone, laptop, printer, vehicle, and then any other allowances. So let's say we're billing weekly 1 unit of a laptop at $200 per week. And then cell phone, we're going to bill the cell phone. Let's say it's a pass-through, $15 per week. The printer, we're billing, let's say, at $150 per week. And vehicle, let's say we're going to bill them $1,000 a month. There we go. So that equals about $230 a week. All right, and the reason why that is it takes this, multiplies it by 12, and then divides it by 52 to get to the average weekly bill. Okay, next part, you want to estimate the reason why I created this is if you want to very quickly see what their profit margin is for a average week. All right, so let's say they're going to be working 5 10s, 40 straight time, overtime. Let's say they're getting per diem for days worked at $100. You'll notice that this fills in their straight time revenue, overtime revenue, per diem revenue, and it also takes into account the revenue from our billings here. So this $595 is really the sum of the billings here. All right, cost works in the same manner. It takes and multiplies the costs times the hours, the straight time cost times straight time hours, etc., all the way on down. And then weekly costs, what it's doing is taking these weekly costs, our burdened ones, and adding them in here. So as you can see that the profit margin for this project is going to be around $873 a week, and percentage will be around 20%. Now, this is a nice little slice. However, if you really want to know how much money you're going to make at the end of this project, what you really want to do is create a schedule for them. Now, the schedule does not take long to create. We can assume that most of the time they're going to be working at least 40 hours. Also, real quick, let me back up. Notice that the number of weeks in this project is 52. What this program does automatically is it automatically fills in 52 weeks worth of dates. Anything below it, any empty spaces below it, should not have any data in the adjacent columns. So your data should end right in this column, or right in this row. All right, let's say they are working 40 hours each week, and then let's throw in, let's say they do a turnaround sometime in the middle here. Let's say their hours start to bump up a little bit. All right, and then it begins to taper off. And they're back at 40 towards the end of the project. All right, and then let's say they're getting per diem days worked. This would be 400. This would be 500. Again, this is an estimate, but you're going to want to do this because it'll really, really help you understand how much money you're going to make at the end of this project. Let's say this is 600. Let's say they're working 6/10 here. Okay. Again, 500. And 400. If they're getting no per diem, just leave this column blank. All right. Now this seems really long. Now notice it only took me less than 30 to 40 seconds to actually put together their schedule here. And automatically it gives you a cost per week, and it actually sums this data up here. So what I've entered now, this is the project analysis. This is really what we want to get to. This is the meat of the information. This project has a duration of 280 straight time hours, 520 overtime hours. Revenue figures the same way, okay? And so it looks like you're going to make around 227 on labor and 300 on billing other. Now billing other is like billing equipment. So, and I'll add a subtotal in here. That way you can have a clearer view into what that revenue is. So it looks like we're probably going to make around 260,000 in revenue, and you have the same thing in labor. This is summing up your labor, and this is summing up your weekly costs over the duration of the project. Ultimately, your profit margin is going to be around $43,000, and your true profit margin percentage is going to be around 16.76%. Now, why is that different than the project margin of your weekly? The reason why that is because your per diem and your overtime hours fluctuate throughout the duration of this project. And so what this rate is actually the true margin that you're going to get at the end of the project. This is just a quick view depending on how many hours they work. In fact, if ultimately you don't care about this, you can always leave this blank and move on to creating a schedule for them. All right? All right, so what do we have here? Now we have a nice sheet that gives us what our total revenue is going to be, our total cost, and our total profit, and you've got a graph that shows how your revenue and your cost is affected. Now, what's nice is this dynamic, and you can delete as you please. So let's say the guy isn't going to get a referral bonus. Let's say he's not going to get a sign-on bonus. Notice what happens to the graph as I delete these. Revenue remains the same, but costs start to drop down and margin starts to go up. I'll show you again. Okay, I'm going to delete, let's say he gets no cell phone reimbursement, and then I'm going to delete this. Watch the graph drop. Good. So now you see how your margin, your revenue, your cost is affected by adding or deleting costs in here. And also, you'll notice that your effective margin percentage changes. Again, let's back up a little bit. I'm going to undo this and watch this profit margin percentage as I undo the costs. See, it goes down, and you can see by how much. So how much each of these line items affects this project. All right. Part of your project pack that you hand to me at the end of this, I've created this in such a manner where you can actually just print this sheet. And the reason why this is very helpful to me is because it shows me exactly what we plan to bill, exactly what their rates are, exactly what the expected margin is, and I can do some serious project monitoring and project costing directly off of this. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. We can always add to this as we go.